I got a quiz for you, Dave. Okay, I'm going to read you some of the players on the bench for a Premier League team this weekend. I want you to tell me which team it was. Okay, so I've got to look at my list that I've got written here: Petrovic, Bergstrom, Gilchrist, Stutter, Washington, Matos. Which team had those players on their bench this weekend?
Was it Sheffield United?
It was a team that has recently spent £1 billion in the transfer market. They were players on Chelsea's bench this weekend. And you and I think, are football nerds, I would go as far as saying. We've been doing this podcast for nearly 3 years and been watching football our whole lives and have never heard of the majority of those players. I did leave out the likes of Ben Chilwell, who was on the bench, because that would have given it away. But let's talk about Chelsea quickly, because they drew 0-0 with Bournemouth this weekend in a very uninspiring performance. Again, even after everything that they've done in the last few windows and the investment they've had, that's their bench, which is a bizarre turn of events. And I know they've got a lot of injuries. They had a lot of players unavailable. They were obviously missing Caicedo and Lavia, two of their big signings for the summer in this match as well. Reece James is still out. But what's going on with Chelsea, Dave? Because they're 14th in the league after 5 games. They've scored 5 goals. Yeah. I think they failed to score in the last 200 minutes. I don't even know what to say. Like, I made you tell me how bad United were earlier, so it's only fair I give you this one back. Tell me, mate, what's going on with Chelsea?
You can't even find it funny when your own team are doing absolutely terrible themselves there. So
I find it hilarious then.
Well, if you think roles reversed this time last year, Myles, you were in a pretty bad spot.
And I'm quite confident that Chelsea won't turn it around as fast as we did, because Unai Emery's got a job.
It's been more of the same, hasn't it? They're struggling to score goals. Defensively, they've not actually looked too bad, to be fair. Midfield's not really been an issue for them as well. And obviously, we've seen Enzo Fernandez has been, very good this season so far. It's just something.
But talking about leaving, apparently.
Wow, are you surprised?
Well, no, maybe not with the way things are going, but
there's a lack of cutting edges in there, isn't there? I mean, Chelsea did have quite a few opportunities in this game. They just couldn't take their chances.
Well, why can't they take the chances? Because they've got Mudryk and Nicholas Jackson playing up top.
The comments that obviously Pochettino came out after the game, didn't he, and said that he needs a better understanding of the game about Mudryk. Says a lot.
But can I just, while you're on that, can we just also address the other thing that Pochettino said, which isn't putting any pressure on any player, obviously. He said something along the lines of, and apologies if I don't get this exactly right, he said, I remember a time when Real Madrid signed a midfielder, and after 6 months, they weren't very happy with him because it took him some time to settle. And his name was Zinedine Zidane. And look how you Real Madrid fans feel about him now. Do we think, Dave, that Nicholas Jackson or Mudryk will go on to have a career as successful as Zinedine Zidane?
Will anyone?
Well, there you go. Go on. What were you saying about Mudryk and Jackson before I interrupted you? I found that hilarious.
I remain quite positive about Jackson. I feel like there's a good player in there.
That's biased because you called him as your player to watch at the start of the season. You don't want to sound wrong.
That as well. But I'm definitely encouraged a lot more about him than I am Mudryk. Also, Mudryk Chelsea was completely in the wrong scenario.
Yeah, it was.
He would have been a lot better off at Arsenal, just because Arsenal were in a much better state, a lot healthier position in the league. Obviously, a lot of young players. They've got a manager in Hampton.
Could have been integrated a lot slower as well.
I think so. And, let's be honest, he's in a massive squad surrounded by a bunch of strangers to him, really.
Yeah.
No real. I mean, who are your experienced players in there now at the club still?
Thiago Silva, and that's it. Because even the experienced ones like Ben Chilwell and Reece James have only played about 6 games in their entire career because they're always injured. They're just old and injured.
Well, Reece James is probably the most experienced.
Conor Gallagher was captain this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. I was quite surprised by
it. Yeah.
But
we thought he was going.
Yeah. It's a strange situation all around. And they're just looking for a break, aren't they, really? It's going to be it's definitely a transitional period for this team.
How long do they get to transition though? Because we said that about Potter and his team. Does Poch come and? I'm not saying after 5 games he's under pressure. Absolutely not. But can we see Pochettino getting this squad clicking, and can we see him getting the time to let that happen?
I think another thing as well, it's been actually really difficult for him if you look at the amount of injuries that they've got. Obviously, Chukwuemeka, who's actually had a really bright start to the season, played quite well. Obviously,
sack him. Don't like him.
Obviously, Nkunku would
Jacob Ramsey
anything off, but we know he's very...
Yeah, that's so unfortunate, isn't it? I love Nkunku. I think he'll be great for Chelsea when he comes through.
In a way, he's not really been able to figure out himself how he's going to set up and what he's going to have, especially in the attacking areas. Reece James continues to get injured every other week, so
it's made of glass.
It's such a difficult spot to be in. I can't really criticise him too much at the minute because I actually really empathise for the position that he's in.